Is Senegal's revolutionary Prime Minister, Ousmane Sonko, at war with the country's president, President Bassirou Diomaye? Most people within Senegal have a different answer to most people outside Senegal. The true answer to this question has powerful implications for the rest of Africa. Just stay with me. The partnership between President Faye and Prime Minister Sonko is drawing widespread debate at the moment. Many fear an imminent political rupture between the two men at the helm of Senegal's groundbreaking government. But labeling the current situation as a war is misleading. What we're witnessing is a power dynamic rooted in ideological divergence, democratic accountability, and governance by cephalism, not betrayal. You see, in nature, bicephalism refers to the rare condition of an animal being born with two heads on a single body. Is Senegal giving us a glimpse of how that can look like in politics? Either it is a revolutionary innovation or an impractical and fleeting phenomenon. The relationship between Sonko and Faye is not a mere political convenience. It is deeply personal, ideological, and strategic. The two men are so close that President Faye named his only son after Ousmane Sonko. The two men are so close that when Ousmane Sonko was barred from running for president, unfairly so, he immediately backed his longtime ally and party secretary general, Bassirou Diomaye Faye, as his replacement. Sonko's endorsement of Faye, made while he was imprisoned, turned what was initially a fallback option into a powerful electoral force. Indeed, Faye owes his presidency in part to Sonko's charisma, sacrifice, and leadership of the now ruling party PASTEF.
Le légendaire, l'incontournable, on est là pour lui, c'est Ousmane Sonko.
In fact, many Senegalese describe them as deux frères inséparables, two inseparable brothers. Yet even brothers argue, right? Supporters of both leaders recognize that disagreements have always been a part of their relationship, even during their time in the opposition. They are not yes men. This tension is not a sign of betrayal, but of ideological clarity and political maturity. At the heart of the current disagreement between Sonko and Faye is a difference in approach, not purpose. Both leaders want justice, reform, and sovereignty, but they disagree on how fast and how hard to push.
Le président Diomaye peut mettre fin aux multiples attaques verbales contre ma personne. Pourquoi il ne le fait pas? C'est une autre question. Le Sénégal a un seul problème. Un problème d'autorité. Et il faut qu'on prenne nos responsabilités par rapport à cette situation.
Sonko is the impatient revolutionary. As Prime Minister, he demands swift justice for the dozens of youth killed under the previous Macky Sall regime. He speaks with fire, wants decisive action against corruption, and is suspicious of the old guard infiltrating state institutions. His supporters rally behind justice first, reconciliation later. Faye, on the other hand, is the calm reformer.
Je souhaite continuer à travailler sur ce qui préoccupe les Sénégalais en mettant l'accent sur les solutions à apporter à leurs difficultés.
Le seul combat qui vaille, c'est le combat contre les difficultés que les Sénégalais endurent, que nous-mêmes endurons en tant que gouvernants.
He believes in gradualism, social cohesion, and institutional healing. His tone is more diplomatic, aimed at preserving a fragile national unity and avoiding another period of unrest. His supporters emphasize that Senegal needs stability before reckoning. These divergent philosophies, drastic versus diplomatic, are fueling the current tensions. Senegal's current political system has a bicephalous executive, one head of state and one head of government. Under this system, the president sits as the head of the state and overall boss, but not an all-powerful one in the way that most African countries embrace. The prime minister leads government operations, and is accountable to parliament. Thus, Sonko is not a helpless and hapless subordinate. He is a constitutional ally, empowered actor who can criticize, decide, and even challenge sluggish administration, all within his legal and moral rights. His public rebukes of the executive and administration are a form of executive self-critique, not mutiny. This kind of power sharing is rare in African politics, where leaders often expect blind loyalty. In contrast, Senegal is now embracing a model where disagreement and power can coexist, where if I correct you, it doesn't mean that I'm rebelling against you. From the streets of Dakar to the rural corners of Casamance, one thing is clear: the Senegalese people are watching closely. Many of Sonko's supporters are still grieving the more than 80 lives that were lost during the violence of Macky Sall's regime. For them, justice isn't a talking point. Nope, it's a demand. They want trials, accountability, and closure. They are wary of reconciliation that feels like amnesty for the old regime. Their message is clear: we did not vote to shake hands with criminals. For these citizens, Sonko is their voice, their conscience within the government. But many Senegalese also want Sonko to accept that he isn't president, to submit fully to the leadership of President Faye. Some argue that external actors like France, the US, or ECOWAS prefer Faye's moderate tone to Sonko's Pan-African radicalism. Some go as far as claiming that Faye was the West's compromise installed to neutralize Sonko, but it isn't true. Others dismiss that as a conspiracy theory warning against weakening the alliance through speculation. In the midst of all this, one cannot ignore Senegal's geostrategic location or uncomfortable reality of foreign-funded civil society groups, not forgetting international pressure. For many, this isn't just domestic power struggles. It is a battle for Senegal's soul. Ultimately, you need to understand this. Sonko did not declare war on the president. He has simply called for a strategic recalibration. His speech was delivered not as prime minister, but as president of PASTEF, the ruling party. He was calling the party back to its revolutionary roots and warning against creeping complacency. The day after the controversial speech, the two leaders were together again. That's not what war looks like. That's what accountability between friends and governance partners looks like. The Diomaye-Sonko dynamic is not a curse for Senegal. It may in fact be Senegal's greatest strength. It is a live demonstration of leadership that tolerates truth, embraces debate, and resists the easy lure of dictatorship. Yes, tensions exist. Yes, personalities clash. But that is what Afrocentric democracy demands. The challenge is now whether both men can preserve their brotherhood while serving the nation, and whether the people can remain engaged without being manipulated by those who benefit from division. Senegal is not collapsing. It is negotiating its future out loud, in public, and with fire, as it should be, because it will help to annihilate the big man syndrome. As we reflect on the current dynamic between Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko and President Diomaye Faye, it is impossible not to recall Senegal's pivotal 1962 political rupture between Prime Minister Mamadou Dia and President Léopold Sédar Senghor. There are echoes, but also sharp contrasts. Like Sonko, Dia was a radical reformer, demanding justice, economic independence, and swift systemic change. Like Faye, Senghor favored moderation, diplomacy, and elite consensus. But where Senghor and Dia ultimately collided and broke apart, resulting in Dia's arrest and the concentration of power in the presidency, Sonko and Faye are navigating their disagreements with open dialogue and mutual respect. Unlike the unilateralism of 1962, today's leaders are operating within a clearly defined governance system that legally empowers each of them to act without extinguishing the other. And that is why this moment in Senegal is not an accident nor a crisis. It is a political breakthrough in a continent too often held hostage by imperial presidencies and big man syndrome. Senegal is pioneering something refreshingly different, a governance cockpit that is led by both a pilot and a co-pilot, a leadership model where the Prime Minister does not simply echo the President, but complements him, where disagreement is not a threat to national unity, but a safeguard of national unity. This is powerful. This kind of power sharing doesn't seek to appease political elites, but to serve the people better. What we're seeing is a living rebuttal of the dangerous myth that African governance must be built on deference, hierarchy, and fear. Instead, Senegal offers a model grounded in constitutional clarity, institutional autonomy, and political maturity. It is a government where power is not hoarded but balanced like wings on a bird, or like co-pilots flying a nation through turbulence. And in a time when global instability threatens fragile democracies, this dual leadership model may be exactly what Africa needs. Governance that listens, leadership that learns, and power that is shared. Not for personal political survival, but for national transformation. We need Afrocentric forms of governance to take Africa forward.